And we are live. Yes, the video is better today, of course, compared to yesterday. I don't know why, though. I don't know why yesterday's video's quality was so bad, but it is what it is. Hello, good people of the internet. Welcome to day 19 of the 20-day life challenge on a Way platform. I took up this challenge 19 days ago. It's almost close to an end, and it feels in so many ways that I've been through so many changes throughout these 20 days. And of course, when I watch these videos later, if I watch these videos later, I will cringe at times. I will feel that I could have said this thing better in this particular moment. I should have not said this thing. I should have said something else here, etc., etc. But all of those things are in hindsight. The truth is that right now I'm on day 19, and what I wanted to talk about today is a topic that has actually emerged as I have started to talk about this 20-day life challenge. And this is a topic that has emerged in my personal conversations with Rocco. This is a topic that has emerged in the live conversations we have had on this channel and multiple videos on in the 20-day life challenge too. The topic is initiation and how we feel personally, fundamentally, that better initiations are literally the answer to the biggest problems that we human beings are facing right now. Better initiations are the answer to probably the biggest problems we human beings are facing right now, because the entire philosophy of initiation has completely been lost. It's almost as if we do not initiate people into roles of responsibility anymore. We do not initiate people towards life anymore, and that's so seriously true, so seriously true. So, what I wanted to do today was spend some time talking about my own initiation, my own arcs of initiation that I have been through over the past so many years now. And let's see where that goes. Now, how we are always in cycles, we are always in a phase of a cycle. In fact, we are on multiple phases of multiple cycles, but we do not consciously know them. What I mean is, during a day we are going through cycles of high energy, low energy, etc. It's when it's close to the night, we are all down. We want to go and rest and get our energy back, etc. So that's a cycle that we are going through. Then there are monthly cycles or weekly cycles that we're going through. For example, if you work a day job, it's Friday today, it's almost towards the end of that cycle. We want some rest now, everyone does. If you are a woman, you have a menstrual cycle. You go through those shifts in your bodily biological cycles every single month. For men, it's not as timely as that, as biological as that, but men also go through cycles. The moon waxes and wanes. The earth goes around the sun in yearly cycles. And very similarly, all of us have various different cycles that we are going through. So you could be in the upward phase of a cycle, and then you could be in the downward phase of a bigger cycle, and probably the downward phase of also a very big cycle that you are not even aware of. And in that sense, I have been through a lot of cycles lately. Particularly if I say this 20-day life challenge, it has been like a cycle, and I'm very close to the end of that cycle. I'm on day 19 right now. And in some sense, when you're close to the end of a cycle, when you can see that an end is coming near, you almost want to show up in a different way towards the end, so that you remember the end differently, or you talk about the end differently. Or, for example, it is a prevalent thought in my mind as to what the 20th video would look like. Now, I know all of these videos are unrehearsed, so I don't really want to be thinking about it, but that's not something I can control. This is a prevalent thought in my mind, that what the 20th video will be about. How will I show up on day 20? How will I close this challenge? And in some sense, it's good. In some sense, it helps. How, if you think beforehand how you want to show up on a particular day, it helps control, or it helps you to prepare slightly better. It it might rob you of your authenticity at times, so that's a hard line to walk. But I think if you're mature enough, you can understand that there is a certain benefit to thinking beforehand as to how you step into the end of a cycle. So that's a 20-day cycle that I'm going through, and I'm close to the end of it. But other than this 20-day cycle, I've been on massive arcs of initiation that I'm still going through. I'm not done with them, not by any stretch of the imagination. But I've been through similar cycles before as well. And that's what I wanted to talk about today, because I've been building on the topic of initiation for quite a few days now. When I talked about Krishna's teaching to Dronacharya, who was the teacher of everyone in the epic of Mahabharata, I actually talked about how the role of a guru, the role of a teacher, the role of an initiator has almost been diluted away. It was diluted away even in the epic of the Mahabharata. And especially in the modern day and age, it's almost non existent, almost. At least, um, let's just say it could be better. And I have talked about it also yesterday when I narrated the story of the witch, the cow, and the maid, as to how initiation, the lack of initiation, was really the problem in that entire arc of the story. And therefore, I've been talking about initiation a lot, and I think that it's only logical for me to talk about the initiations that I've been through in my own life. So here I am. Let's talk about that. I think for me personally, the biggest initiation I went through initially, this was close to, I think, 3 years back, was when that cycle almost came to an end. That was the phase when I learned from teachers such as Osho, JK, Jiddu Krishnamurti, that is, Sam Harris, Alan Watts. Oh my God, yes. They were all these beautiful, powerful teachers who introduced me to books, really. I would say this cycle started close to 6, 7 years ago, when I think 7 odd years ago was when I first read a book that was outside of my curriculum. I've been a studious kid throughout my life. I've been a nerdy kid throughout my life, but I'd never picked up books that were outside of my curriculum. And all of these books that you see, all of these books that I've talked about on this channel too, I picked almost 7, 8 years ago. Perhaps, yes. I think that was the timeline when I got introduced to these books. And man, did they initiate me. Man, did they initiate me. They initiated me towards a whole new way of looking at life. Not just my own personal life, of course, my own personal life too, but my life in relationship with other lives around me. My life in relationship with life with a capital L, nature, all of life. And it was not a comfortable initiation, quite honestly. It was almost as if, an example that Rocco usually leads with, I think I can relate to it even here. It's almost as if you are sitting in a restaurant, and you are let me put it this way, you are sitting in the corner of a restaurant, and there is a wall next to you, and you can see that there are a lot of people sitting on that side as well, right? And then halfway through your dinner, you realize that that was never really a wall, that was just a mirror. This is the end of the restaurant. All of these people here were the ones who were being reflected there as well. It may not change your life completely, but the way you were looking at that dinner, the way you were approaching that entire scene, just shifts 360 degrees, in fact 180 degrees, right? And that's the kind of initiation I went through at that time, I feel, because the way I had been looking at my life was completely changed. And one of the core themes that emerged from that line of teachers, from that line of books, that I um, really, really respect and really, really resonated with, was the concept of unlearning. The concept of unlearning, in the sense that I realized that so many truths in my life, so many truths in my life were evading me, only because I had learned a lot of things that were restricting me from seeing those truths that were out there in plain sight. Literally, that. I had to I had to find my way towards those truths about life with a capital L, about my own life, about life in relationship with others, via the process of unlearning, via the process of not really learning about new truths, but about unlearning my attachment to my own old truths. And that included the idea of God. I was an atheist at that time, so I didn't really believe in a God, but I believed in an idea of God that I was negating. Every atheist does that. And that idea itself was incomplete. I never really realized that before. And therefore, that was one big part of my unlearning. And similarly, across so many dimensions of my life, I could see that the way I was looking at life, I was projecting it on other people, I was projecting it on situations, and therefore certain situations kept happening again and again with me. And that was again a big arc of initiation that I went through, and an overarching narrative that I form out of that initiation is unlearning. And now, in hindsight, I feel that that is such an important key unlearning, key initiation that everyone has to go through. Every adult has to go through that, because especially in the modern age, especially in 2025, we have done away with the concept of initiation, and therefore almost everyone who's an adult right now, adult only in terms of the number of years that they've spent on the earth, they have certain ideas that are deeply rooted in their psyche, deeply rooted in their psyche. And to be able to look at life from a fresh perspective, that cup first needs to be emptied. That cup first needs to be emptied. That attachment to those parts of their psyche, those favorite parts of their psyche, needs to be unlearned. And therefore, unlearning, I feel, is a massively important part of every initiation that every adult has to go through. And then I started the Unlearning Playground. I started the podcast. I started this YouTube channel. I started sharing a lot of those unlearnings on my Instagram page. And man, was I happy about whatever I was doing. And it was all meaningful stuff, really, really meaningful, powerful stuff. Even if I look back at those videos from 3 years ago, those posts that I used to put out on my Instagram page, I really feel proud. There was some really good, powerful stuff that was coming through me. But then I came across Rocco. I came across Rocco's work, and I talk about him in a separate league, because I believe he was the only teacher. He is the only teacher who is alive, who has taught me things live. And this is something I used to talk about. There must be some videos in from that time when I used to talk about the fact that I want to do this. I want to be a teacher because I feel that we need more alive teachers. All of the teachers from my first phase of unlearning were all dead people. I learned via them, I learned via their words, I learned via their books, but all of them were dead. I could not ask them questions directly. I mean, I could, there were live teachers as well. I could go ahead and talk to them, but somehow that was that was my way of going about it. That was my initiation that I had to go through. All of the teachers that I encountered were dead teachers whose words really lighted up my soul, but they were dead. And I felt that I'm someone who is called out to simplify things. I'm someone who's called out to teach things in a simplified manner anyway. And therefore, I decided that this is something that I want to do. I want to simplify philosophy for people. I want to simplify spirituality for people because I can. And therefore, I started the Unlearning Playground YouTube channel with the idea of being a teacher who's alive, who's available for other people. And that's been something that I'm really proud of, because there have been dozens of people who have reached out to me, and I've had live sessions with them. I've had um, really some powerful conversations, some personal conversations with them that has helped them. But Rocco was the only alive teacher who I came across, a teacher who would um, not always easily, not always consciously, but would always leave me with something to think about, at least initially. We came across each other's work on Instagram back then. And the arc of initiation that I've been through ever since then, I feel it's coming to a close right now. It's not ended. I'm still in the middle of that initiation, and I think I will be in the middle of this initiation for some time. And then there will be something else. Of course, there are so many other things to still understand and become more aware of, unlearn. So I will always have those things, but it feels almost like the end of an initiation cycle. And this initiation cycle that I've been through has been primarily taught to me by Rocco has been primarily my teacher here. And if I put this in one word, if I put this in an overarching narrative, this, if the previous cycle was about unlearning, that previous cycle taught me about how to be in this world, or rather how I am in this world. It was the being aspect of my psyche that was being shafted, that was being threshed, that was being improved upon. This initiation cycle that I've been through was all about the becoming aspect of my own journey. The becoming aspect, with the sense of what do I want to become in this world? What do I want life to become going forward, and how can I co-create life? And and like I say, Rocco has been a massive part of this initiation cycle for me, because it was via him really that I understood just the idea of co-creation almost. I mean, I understood that we all, let's put it this way, life evolves, right? Life emerges. There is almost no fixed destination. But with human beings, life has evolved to a stage where a life form is conscious enough to be able to impact the direction that evolution takes going forward. That's a powerful thing. That's a powerful realization to have, because most human beings don't really realize it. Most human beings even think about evolution as if it's something that happened in the past. Evolution is still happening. Life is still emerging. We are still emerging. We are a part of that emergent process. And we are such an important part of that emergent process that we can actually help guide that emergent process going forward. And that's the power, that's the responsibility of the modern human being. And none of my old teachers had taught me that, quite honestly. I had a semblance of this realization, but Rocco's work was all about this. Rocco's work is all about this becoming, that in the modern day, in the modern age, human beings are so powerful, human beings are so empowered right now, that they can literally impact the direction life takes forward, to the extent that human beings can hamper life going forward. That is the kind of stupidity and ignorance also that has come along with the power that we've inherited from our ancestors. And therefore, at this stage of my understanding, at this stage of almost, hey Ruhan, kind, Ruhan says, kind of sad this challenge is almost coming to an end, but learned a lot of things from it. Thank you, Ruhan. Thank you for saying that. You have been one of the most consistent people here. Okay, I'll come back to my train of thought. Yeah, I was talking about the second phase of my initiation, and I say that Rocco has been one of the primary teachers in this arc of initiation for me. And this arc of initiation for me has been all about becoming, has been all about what impact can I have on life. And that's extremely important, because if my first phase taught me about unlearning, my second phase taught me that unlearning of your attachments of your past is an ever going thing. It's always going to happen, so it's a perennial life lesson that you always have to keep going through. But that's not the end all be all. That's not the end all be all. That's one aspect of growing up, of being mature. But then what's an even better way of acting like a mature adult in the world is to actually co-create life, is to actually look for better ways to impact life, look for the best ways to impact life from your current standpoint, and then act in that manner. Because if you are here, if you can realize all of this, if you can understand whatever it is that I'm saying, you know that this comes with a certain level of responsibility almost. And that is a burden. Of course it is a burden, it feels like a burden, but it's also an opportunity of a lifetime. And therefore, that is the initiation arc that I'm in right now. I'm trying to make sense of everything that is happening with me, around me, over me, etc. But at this stage of my understanding, at this stage of the leadership that I am trying to exhibit in this world, this is where I am. This is where I am. I feel called out to act out my highest understandings. I feel called out to explain my highest understandings to more people. I feel called out to initiate more people towards this direction of thinking, because I can see very clearly how in the modern world, one is we have eroded the idea of initiation completely. Secondly, we are so cynical. We are so damn cynical, because you can't blame the modern human being for being cynical. It's information overload right now. It's information overload. There are just so many content creators, so many voices on the internet right now, and almost all of them are talking bullshit. almost all of them are talking bullshit. And therefore, in such a swamp of content on the internet, I'm trying to be another voice. For a person who encounters me for the first time, I'm probably just another voice who's trying to sound smart, trying to sound cute, trying to look good on the internet and just talk about some philosophy. And therefore, I'm going to be ridiculed away as well. I cannot blame them for that. But then again, the fact that this is happening at such a scale in the modern world tells me that it's all the more important for sane people to become the to rather almost swallow the vulnerability and swallow the pride and still go out and try to be the loudest voices in the room, because we need more adults right now. Otherwise, you look at the loudest voices in any room right now, they're all voices of teenagers. And in that sense, human beings as a species are themselves going through a process of initiation right now. Almost all of us do not really realize it, but we have been through so many arcs of initiations as a collective species. And if our religions provided us uh, an arc of initiation, that arc of our initiation has almost ended now. What we have been living with is a resultant momentum from our past. And the philosophy, the ideas of all of our religions, almost all of our religions, at least the way they are practiced, they're all eroded away now. They are no longer shining lights anymore. And therefore, what we need as a society, apart from all the technological progress that has already happened, what we need is to put back our philosophers, put back our explainers back on top of the pedestal, so that they can guide us with better overarching narratives of how to look at life, and then for that to guide our becomings going forward. Do you look at how beautiful this is really? The way I have explained my own initiations as well, I have talked about how the first part of my initiation sorted my own being, in the sense that it gave me a better understanding of what truly is my place in this world, what truly is my place with respect to all the other life forms that I inhabit this life with. That was the being part of my life that had to be sorted out. Because if I didn't sort that out, I was always living as almost everyone else is living, in the sense that I'm a poor little me who has to keep working to save myself from everyone around us, from everyone around him, because I'm a separate person. I'm completely separate from my surroundings and I have to protect myself. Just me and mine, just me and mine. I have to act from this manner. Now, you have to do that. Of course, you have. You don't have to be naive to let other people come out and kill you. That's not what I'm talking about. But this is not the complete answer to life. You cannot live your complete life in this shallow perspective. Of course, you can, but there's a better way of going about it. And that's what I got initiated towards. So that's the being aspect of our life. That's the being aspect that got sorted out for me. And then it was the becoming aspect that got sorted out for me. And I think that is a very good framework with which you can view almost our collective species. As of now, as of 2025, our aspects of being, our aspects of understanding what is our relationship with respect to our life, our relationship with respect to the life forms that we inhabit this earth with, they've all eroded. They've all almost gone away. And therefore, our becomings are no longer really helping us. I talked about this in one of the live videos, that a lot of people feel that the highest technological advancement that human beings should be aiming towards is to reach Mars, is to inhabit another planet. And while I understand that that seems like a very high end project and one of the projects to focus on, if we just take a step back and think about the fact that the earth was where we came out, the earth is absolutely conducive to our survival, because this is where we have emerged from. We have made a mess out of this planet to the extent that we have to now go inhabit another planet, which, to inhabit that planet, we have to probably bomb the shit out of it already, or change it out so much. What do you think these human beings will do when they reach Mars? Will they really treat it with respect that it is their new home? Will they really take care of that new planet? Of course not, right? It's not the Earth that was the problem. It was the human beings, it was the operating system of the human beings. And therefore, I personally feel that it is this operating system that needs to be sorted now. And that has to be the first project that all of us focus on, so that our becomings get sorted going forward. Now, remember that this project that I'm focusing on is the project of initiation. This is the project of initiation, initiating not only new people who will inhabit the earth, but people who already inhabit the earth but do not really understand any of this really. They do not really understand the enormous weight of the responsibility that they have on their shoulders right now. They do not understand the enormous weight of the decisions that they're consciously and unconsciously taking. A very simple example: the more you keep scrolling on your social media, the more you keep sharing videos that are agitating you, the more you are signal boosting that division in the society. And no matter how effective you think that is in solving a problem, let me assure you, you are part of a bigger problem that you're not solving. You're only causing more problem. You're only causing more division in our society. And this needs to be understood by all adults. This needs to be understood by new people who will be inhabiting the earth. Because if we do not initiate our kids towards this kind of thinking, social media and the internet are not really going away anytime soon. And will only keep causing bigger and bigger and bigger problems, to the extent that, like I talked about, I think, in the very beginning of this video, right now we are so empowered that we can actually end the arc of human species completely. And I don't want to be the last generation who was given so much empowerment from their ancestors, but they just couldn't open their eyes up and could not act in better ways to sort their shit out. Yes. And then that's probably it. One of the things that is going on in my mind right now is what I'm talking about here is quite literally that quote from Rabindranath Tagore, where he said that you are growing up when you are talking about planting trees in whose shade you will never really sit. That's the idea of leadership. That's the idea of true leadership. What I'm talking about here is literally the idea of planting trees in whose shade we don't get to sit, but our future generations will get to sit in those shades. Our future generations will be the ones who will be watering those plants and those trees. And that matters. That really, really matters. Because unless we do that, really, quite honestly, I've talked about this in these live videos as well. There was a massive live video with Rocco where we talked about the Kali Yuga, how we are in the arc, in the dying arc of a Kali Yuga right now, and we are in for a destruction. I don't want to sound like someone who is prophesizing doom or who's calling out for the end of the world, like those movies that have always called out that the sky is falling. I'm not doing that. But what I can see is very clearly that unless we step up, that is a very real possibility. Unless we step up, the idea of us blowing each other apart, the idea of us entering into never ending conflicts that never really go away, is not really a far fetched idea anymore. If you want a more poetic, a rather more dramatic understanding of this idea, go check out that movie Don't Look Up on Netflix. You would understand what I'm saying, because all of us saw what happened during COVID, how polarized people were, how impossible it was to get people to coordinate in the face of an impending danger that impacted all of us. But we still could not let go of our own sides. We still could not let go of our own polarizations in the face of a danger that was very clearly dangerous for all of us together. That's the idea of the movie Don't Look Up. So go check it out, and you will understand why Rocco and I keep talking about initiations, why we keep talking about the fact that we need better ways to initiate better people. Oh, in fact, that really does remind me. One of the things that I should call out is that these initiations are not really easy processes. It's not a bed of roses, quite honestly. I have had days where I've cried my eyes out. I have had days where I've been really angry at myself, at the world, at my parents for not teaching me this before. I've been angry at um, just the general life situation I'm in. There have been days when I've been desperate about just wanting to, the idea of not being resourceful enough to impact a change right now. That's a desperate situation that I still face. I know Rocco also faces that situation. So it's not a bed of roses. The initiations that we are talking about here, the ideas that we are promoting here, are not really for children. Quite honestly, they're not really for children. Of course, we'll also come up with things for children. We'll also come up with things for people who are not called out to become teachers like us. Of course, we understand that not everyone has to turn on their cameras and explain philosophical concepts to a bunch of people. Not everyone is called out to do that. But everyone, hear me out, everyone is called out to impact the world in some way, in their own unique way. And what we want to achieve with a better way community is to have community members who are actualizing in their own way, in their own very particular unique way, and contributing towards a project that takes us towards that great destiny that all of us human beings are really destined for. Not the divergence, not the petty conflicts that all of us occupy ourselves with on Instagram and YouTube. It's a pity that our platform also lies on social media right now. It's a pity that we have to compete for attention of viewers with all of the bullshit content that is out on social media, but that is another situation that we're in. So yeah, all said and done, I think that's everything I wanted to talk about today. This has taken something out of me. I need to go get some rest now. Oh my god, I've been on for 31 minutes. Book summary and coach says hi. Hello. I would love to know your name too. Okay. Thank you so much. If you are here live and watching, thank you. Hey Rahul, good to see you here. Thank you. Uh, yes, that's about it. If you joined somewhere in the middle and could not quite make sense of everything that I talked about, I hope you get to watch this again and make sense of the two initiation arcs that I talk about and the importance of initiations that I talked about. I quite from the bottom of my heart pay tribute to all the teachers that I've had. I still have them. Osho and JK are two people whose books I still keep going back to every now and then. I don't usually watch more videos nowadays, but I do respect what Osho and JK brought to the table. Rocco is someone who with whom I converse almost on a daily basis. He is for me more than a teacher. He's a big brother right now for me, and he helps provide the kind of leadership that I really need right now to help orient myself towards a better way, quite literally. And I hope to be able to embody that for other people in the community too. So, having said that, this is it. This is all I wanted to talk about. Hey, Sumona, good to know your name. Good to know your name. Alrighty then. This was day 19. Tomorrow will be the last live video that I put out. Not the last live video I put out on this channel ever, but it will be the last live video of this series. This has been a fascinating series for me. This has been another arc of initiation that I've been through. Probably I'll make more sense of it going forward, but tomorrow's video will quite literally, I think, be a showcase of everything that these 20 days have been about. And maybe we'll also highlight a few things from these 19 videos out there. So that's about it. That's it. I'm tired now. Thank you, you good people of the internet. Thank you for tuning in. If you're watching this later on and you're not a subscriber, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share this with your friends and family. If you're here with me, something here must have resonated with you. You know, this is better sense making for all of us together, for every person at their own individual level, and for every person at the collective level. So this matters. This really matters. That's the easiest way I can put it. So make sure you share this with your friends and family and your community. And I'll see you tomorrow. Until next time, peace out.